I got the call, I was on furlough that day, and my supervisor called me and asked me could I come on if I wasn't too busy, because we had a big fire in Horry County. When I got close to the fire, I called the IC and asked him, where do I need to go? And he told me to get with another operator, and it was one of the 5 operators that we come on the fire line with. He told us to go to International Drive. And when we got down close to the fire, I say the fire length flames were 100, 200 foot in. So there was just no way we could drive through it. So we called IC back, and that's when he told us, well, just come on back out and we'll send you around to Highway 31.
I got over to Highway 90, which was where I was initially dispatched to, and I unloaded, and I was told to blade around some houses, and that's when I first saw the fire. And it was rolling pretty good. It was coming. After I got that line bladed, I loaded up and joined the other 4 tractors and came over here to Water Tower Road. It had to be around 6 when we got to Water Tower Road, somewhere around in there, 5:30 or 6 o'clock. It was getting kind of dusk. There was a column of black smoke coming over the 4-lane highway. Everybody's coming out. We're going in. And it was kind of intense, really intense. It's really the first fire I'd been on of that size. I'd never seen anything like it. You've got 70, 80 foot pine trees and fire coming well out of the top of them. So, I mean, it was intense for me.
And when the other 3 operators got there, the IC come up there and told us what he wanted us to do. He wanted us to go in there, and the plane would direct us into the fire, and they were going to set back fires off of Highway 31 to keep from crossing 31. And so all 5 of us operators got in, started off Water Tower Road, and when we got to the fire, we made us a safety zone.
We were actually right in the middle of the flank. So we headed towards Highway 31, where we're going to tie into the highway and then turn around and come back and tie in with the power lines. Fire behavior at that time wasn't that great.
And we got on this old woods road right along the edge of the bay and the edge of the sand ridge. The flame lengths wasn't 2 to 4 foot. And down here in the bay, it's probably 8 or 10 foot. It just was coming above the bay bushes. And I mean, we were feeling pretty good about it. I mean, we weren't too worried about it then, because the fire, it kept dying down, and that's the way it usually does. After it gets dark, the fire around here usually dies down. And so we weren't expecting anything. And so we just kept plowing right along the edge of the ridge until we got to the power line. Out after we left the sand ridge and hit the power line, we come down the power line, and the further we went, the boggier it got. And I finally bogged down. And when I bogged down, I hollered for Terry, and she come up behind me, and I got off my tractor and grabbed my winch cable and hooked to her tractor. And then Terry was going to try to move around and get in front of me, and then she bogged down. And so both of us were stuck, and after we both got stuck, we called for the other 3 operators to come and pull us out.
About that time is when the fire blew up. The wind shifted direction, and the whole flank of the fire became a head fire. And that's when it really got intense there for a few minutes. You felt the wind as it shifted, and as it shifted, the noise escalated to an unimaginable degree. Sounded like a freight train or a tornado or something coming through. There was that loud whistling or blowing, and all the branches and the trees cracking and popping. And about that time is when we decided to go ahead and deploy. And you kind of look at your options, and you can't run in here. Your bulldozer's down, so it's no help to you. and that kind of limits your options. You've got nowhere to go. The last resort is your only resort, and that's your shelter. So for us, there really wasn't any other option. That fire was coming. There was no doubt about it, and there was no way we were going to outrun it. We couldn't even walk in here, much it's black dark, can't see where you're going. There was no other option. That was the only option. There's not really much to debate then. We kind of hopped over to the other side of the power lines and kind of stomped down the grass that was right around us.
And so we both got our shelters, we got off the tractors, and we went to the other side of the power line. And I mean, the fire, it was right there at us then. I mean, it was moving. I've never seen anything like that before, and you could feel the heat coming off of it, and the embers just steady falling around you. We had both tractors, we'd cut both tractors off, and we left the lights on so we could see. We were both nervous. I was scared, and then we were up under the power line, and Terry said, "You don't think the power line will burn in half?" So I said, "Oh God." And that gave us something else to worry about. And so we just got on the edge of the power line and there was a little bit of a puddle of water there. And we just got in the middle of that water and got down in our shelters. But we were both scared and nervous. But we knew there's nowhere to run. I mean, the bay bushes are thick. You couldn't run out. You couldn't go back down the power line because the fire was coming too fast. Right before we deployed, we got on the radio and told them we were going to deploy. And I mean, the radio, it got quiet after that. I mean, you couldn't hear anything on the radio. But I mean, it was real quiet on the radio the whole time we were in there. You could tell everybody else was thinking about us. Because I mean, some of the guys, they told me that their heart just dropped.
It wasn't long at all that fire came across us. It was moving real fast. It got really noisy then when we were inside the shelters and really bright. My shelter was just glowing.
I mean, you could see everything just turned red inside the shelter, and you could hear the fire. I mean, it was just trees just popping and stuff. When we lay down in the water, you could feel it was kind of cool, but you could still feel the heat coming from it, from the fire. But that water, I think, kind of kept us kind of cool. And I mean, I'm surprised we didn't get burnt, because there was grass all around us. It was just a little small puddle of water we got into, and all that grass, it burned all around us.
Well, I thought about my family. That's about all I thought about. Thought about those power lines coming down on top of us. I thought about my family, and it seemed like forever. I know it was only just a couple minutes, but it just seemed like forever that that noise was going on.
You could hear the fire. You could hear the fire leave us. I mean, you could hear all that cracking and popping and the flames and stuff. You could hear it when it went over us, and you could hear it, leaving. And I just kind of peeped out of the shelter, and you could still, there was a lot of embers still flying, but I mean, you tell it was safe enough to come out. And I looked around at the fire, and I mean, I couldn't believe we'd got caught in that situation. I mean, it's just, we didn't expect it. It was just completely surprising to me.
We kind of peeked our heads out, and there was still fire everywhere. It was in the air, it was all around us, but the noise level had just completely died down. I just couldn't believe how quiet it got, even with the fire all around. And we turned around and looked in the direction that the fire was going, and Wayne was in front of me. And all I could see was him standing there with the fire shelter slung over his shoulder, and the fire all in the air, and the embers going everywhere, and the fire was just moving that way, and it was intense. Well, I had my cell phone in my pocket, and I reached down and picked it up and took the picture of Wayne standing there with his back to me. And he had the South Carolina forestry jacket on, and the air was just full of fire, and I just caught the moment. And then we just kind of breathed for a few minutes and got our bearings, and things settled down. And we talked to the IC and told them, you know, we were okay, everything was all right. And everything had just gotten quiet. And I think everybody was relieved.
Yeah, after they come and pulled us out of the bog, we drove all the way back the same line we come in on, and got to our trucks, and monetary supervisor come up to us, and he hugged our necks and give us something to eat, and he asked us right then if we wanted to go home. And me and Terry both told him, you know, we were fine then, that we would, you know, we would like to stay with, you know, with everybody else. We didn't want to leave everybody else. And so we went and fought fire the rest of the night.
I got home the next day around 11 o'clock in the morning. I didn't sleep that day. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't sleep the next day. It took some time. It takes some time to get over just the shock and then keep going.